Those are some very wise words coming from Hafsa about how a bride can choose the special gown for her special day.
Yeah.
And so tell us, but I think some of those gowns there, I mean, they were so gorgeous. They all had different silhouettes. And this silhouette is something that maybe many brides don't have in their mind when they go into a design consultation, but which plays a major part. So if you are someone, let's say, curvier, but you want to go for a very figure-hugging silhouette, so do you advise brides against that sort of thing?
Yes, I try my best to convince them, you know, when I know that it's not going to really suit them. But sometimes it's kind of set in their mind, the kind of dress that they've always wanted. But I usually know, I mean, having done this for some time, I kind of know that, okay, it's not really going to look good on her. So I kind of try to, you know, maybe pacify and talk her out of it, try to move her on to maybe another trend, get her into a couple of other dresses that would flatter her better. Because if you are curvier, you wouldn't want to, you know, try something very figure-hugging. Maybe an A-line or a ball gown is a lot better to kind of hide the curvier parts off.
Also, if you on the video, if I could just interrupt you, you also featured a lot of different materials. There was lace, there was twill, there was so many different materials that you had used for each gown. So what is your favorite type to work with, and what's timeless?
Timeless, always lace. Lace is a timeless classic. So my favorite pick would always be lace. Following up with tulle. Tulle is a very forgiving fabric because it's sheer and it kind of drops down, so it looks good on a lot of people. So tulle and lace would be my picks.
Those are your favorites to work with.
Those are my favorites.
We saw some gorgeous gowns there as well on the video.
Thank you.
Especially the ones with the, even the ones with the boleros, the jackets kind of thing. That was very interesting because like we were discussing before, for people who want to get out of it during reception and stuff like that. It's very interesting to see the drape that you brought during certain certain sections out there, and also like Amaya mentioned before, when it comes to dress fitting, how important it is it to do that, and how often should we do a dress fitting when we become an aspiring bride?
Well, a bride should be prepared to have at least maybe 3 to 4 fittings or alterations. I mean, she should be prepared to go in for them, because usually a dress doesn't come perfectly fit, you know. So there are little tweaks that we need to do, you know, to get it, you know, kind of fit to the bride. So maybe 3 to 4 alterations, not necessarily always, maybe even 2 sometimes.
And how important is the relationship between the bride and the bridal designer? How do you balance out that? Because some brides can get cranky maybe nearer the big day.
And very
they get
demanding.
stressed out.
It happens. Yes, especially when they bring large bridal parties or, you know, to select a dress. That gets quite stressful. But the relationship needs to be open. I mean, we need to clarify. The bride needs to be clear on what she wants. I mean, we can't, as a consultant, I don't force the bride into something that she's not going to be happy with. Even though I feel it's not going to look right, if she really wants it, I kind of say, okay, fine, I'll do it for you. Because, I mean, it's her day after all, it's not ours. It's something that she wants. So, it's an open relationship.
What's the ideal wedding dress choosing party that the bride should bring along when she comes? Because I'm sure some people bring all of their relations
and generations, like mothers and grandmothers, aunties and uncles, next door neighbors. No, I've been through that before, and I've often noticed that the consultant becomes very uncomfortable in that case, and some people even say, can we talk to you alone? So have you faced that?
I have. Sometimes I've gone through where I don't have any more seating available to seat the whole party, so that happens a lot. I would say, you know, bride to bring maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4 maximum of people who she trusts, who would give her an honest opinion, so she can be confident on their choice.
Of course. And some brides like to wear the dress that their grandmother wore or their mother wore,
and they pass it down the generation.
So do you do dress restoration as well and redesign it maybe according to?
I could redesign, but I don't really do a lot of dress restoration. But I would advise, if anyone who does pick a dress, to, you know, have your dress preserved as quick as possible, because you need to, I mean, to have it preserved, you need to send it to the cleaners as soon as you can. So, I mean, they do it in a special way, and there are specialists now who specialize in dress restoration and preservation, where you've got to use a lot of, you know, acid-free stuff and an acid-free box to sew the dress. So, Yeah, so if you were looking to store your dress, maybe even for your daughter or maybe great-granddaughter, better to go the right way and preserve it properly.
Yeah, one question that I wanted to ask Hafsa was that who are your favorite designers locally and internationally?
Internationally, as a personal favorite, I would say John Galliano and Matthew Williamson. Has nothing to do with bridal, but I do love their flair for color and drama. Yeah, but if I was looking into the bridal line, obviously it's Vera Wang and Ellie Saab, and then there's a Panina Tornay. She's a fabulous designer.
And especially when it comes to celebrities. Celebrities wear some really great dresses, some wear atrocious dresses, some wear a lot of dresses.
Very interesting.
But they always interest us. Celebrity trends are something that spills over into society as well. So what are the great celeb dresses that you have seen internationally?
My favorite currently right now is still the Duchess of Cambridge. Kate's dress.
The international favorite.
Yeah, that was a gorgeous dress, and it's kind of a timeless dress. It would never really go out of style. So hers, as well as Ivanka Trump, she wore a lovely Vera Wang dress. It was completely lace, and she looked absolutely fabulous in it. So those are two of my favorite picks right now.
And it's lace.
And it's lace.
And it's white. Okay, that's very interesting.
What are the main budgeting issues that comes up when a bride goes to pick out her dress? Because you have this image in your mind, but then someone puts the breakdown in front of you and you realize, wow, my dream is going to cost a lot.
That's the question that we even asked Anushka. It's very important to budget certain...
From jewelry to dress, budgeting is quite important.
So it's important for the bride maybe to sit down with her family and cover an overall budget for the wedding, and then maybe pick out a budget. Okay, I'm going to spend so much for the dress. So that way, you know, when she comes to a consultant, she doesn't get disheartened and, you know, we show her a dress that's going to be financially impossible. So that way we know, okay, we have to stick within this budget and show her only those kind of dresses.
But fabrics like lace and brocade, let's say, they are on the priciest side, I would say. What are the fabrics that are more cost effective when it comes to wedding dresses?
Yeah, cost effective would be tulle and organza. Those two are quite cost effective.
I see.
Yeah, lace is obviously on the higher side because a lot of hard work put into that. So yeah.
Of course. And now you mentioned this in the video as well, but location is really important when you're selecting the dress, isn't it? If you have satin and you have brocade in a beach wedding,
definitely not.
At a long train, you're going to have a very tough time.
That's not really
gathering
going to
all
work.
your
It's going to be a mess. So the venue is very important in choosing a dress as well.
Of course.
Yeah, and how whether it's a black tie or whether it's casual, so that makes an importance on choosing the dress also.
And when you talk about cuts and styles, are there more some that are more suitable for a morning wedding and some that are more suitable for an evening wedding? Do you demarcate like that?
Not necessarily in cuts and styles, because for me traditionally a wedding dress is long. I don't I could do a shorter dress, but I've never done one so far. So when it comes to cuts and silhouettes between morning and evening, it's kind of like the same. It's more based on the body type and the silhouette of the person or the bride in particular, rather than the time of day.
What kind of customers have you got so far? Are they really traditional when it comes to choosing their dress or the image of their dress, or do they actually try to become a little modern?
I've had a mix of both. There are some brides who are quite traditional, who don't want to, go a little into the modern way, but there are some who are quite dramatic, want to try something new. So I have a mix of both. Both are fine. I can work around with them. No big fuss.
They're flexible in that. But right now you do just dresses, isn't it? When it comes to saris, what are your preferences? I know you don't design them, but I'm sure you have an opinion about the type of sari.
I still love the Candian sari. That gives a lot of elegance to the bride. I love the Candian dress. So when it comes to saris, the Candian is very nice, and it's Sri Lankan. It's known world round, so Candian for me.
But even the Candian is becoming updated, isn't it?
Yes,
quite updated. Colors and
different styles, different ways of draping the pallu and all that. True. This is a very interesting question that I wanted to ask you. Who is your ideal customer? What is your ideal customer like?
The characteristics.
I wouldn't want to put out a characteristic as per. It's really any bride who wants to make her dream dress a reality. I'm open to, you know, be flexible with the bride. So it's anyone who really wants to get a good dress done and who has the confidence in me to do it for them. So it's basically any girl out there who has a dream of wearing a dress.
And you consult them on what type of jewelry can you use for this?
Yeah, they kind of ask me those questions towards the end, you know, what would suit the dress and how about the shoes. I mean, shoes need to be picked out early in advance because of the length of the dress and all that. So the shoes come first, usually before the dress fitting anyway.
But I know that you are doing custom dresses according to the bride's specifications. But what if someone wanted to go for a ready-made dress? What kind of advice can you give someone who doesn't want a custom dress on their day but still wants it to be something special if they're going for a ready-made dress?
I actually do ready-made dresses as well because I have a few brides who come in at the last minute and where we don't really have time to get a dress done for them, so we usually have to choose one off the rack. So we give her a sample dress and then we do a few alterations to kind of fit it into her. So that is also an option. I mean, if you're really running out of time, so you have no choice but to go for a ready-made dress. So there's really nothing wrong with that.
Of course.
Yeah, but I would say always try to keep your, you know, have a lot of time in advance when choosing your dress rather than rush it. It's a lot easier.
Of course. And some brides actually opt to go abroad sometimes and pick out their trousseau. So what are the countries that are very popular when it comes to selecting your wedding attire?
Well, when you go abroad, obviously the price increases a lot. So I have a few brides who try to go to mainly Australia or England because they have a lot of sample sales there. When they try to come into, I mean, when they change their dress for the season, so they put all their dresses on about 80% off. So I have a few brides who I know who actually gone over to those sales and picked out a few dresses. So
but for those of us on a budget, that might not be the best option.
To the country. And also, like you mentioned before during the break that we were discussing, you are trying to move into consulting for the entire bridal party soon?
Yes. I'm hoping to do that soon, maybe by December. Yeah, because I have a lot of brides. They find it easier if, you know, they can do the whole thing in maybe a day or two rather than, you know, find different designers to conduct the whole wedding. So I'm looking into that, and maybe sometime soon I'll look into the bridal party as well.
So future plans for Hafsa. Of course, and it's an evolving business. And thank you so much for taking some time out.
Thank you so much for having me.
I think everyone who has watched the show would have learnt a lot about how they can go about choosing their wedding dress. It can be something a very scary experience if you're not ready, I'm sure.
Amaya has very specifically said that she's not ready for it yet, but then I'm sure that she'll be consulting Hafsa very soon in the future. But it was a very interesting show. We had a lot of insight about how to choose a proper wedding dress and wedding jewelry and all sort of other background information as well. So we are so thankful for Hafsa and Anushka who were here as our guests today. And
and also I have to remind our viewers that Dr. Namal Senasinger will be joining me as well today, and we have our segment on pain management happening with the doctor. So that's our usual Monday morning segment. You have to stay tuned for that.
And for your suggestions and your comments about the show and whatever you want to say about the show, you can always like our Facebook page, that is on www.facebook.com/Good Morning Sri Lanka. Please like our page and join our fans over there. And also you can email us to goodmorningsrilanka@mtvsports.lk.
So thank you so much, Hafsa.
Thank you.
I hope you have a really great morning. Do stay tuned for the segment on pain management, and I'll see you on the other side of the break.